This webinar will be recorded. We encourage you to type Q&A, any questions and answers, any questions you have, to type them into the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. We'll save some time at the end to answer all questions. If we run out of time to answer questions, we will post them online. And at the end, the recording of this video and the Q&A will be posted online. So first, a little housekeeping. This webinar is meant to be informative, but it's not meant to replace the official RFP document. So we at SMIC have created a special website here that has all the documents necessary for the RFP and submission. So we highly encourage you to go to that site. If there are any inconsistencies between this presentation and the RFP wins out, that trumps all. Like I mentioned earlier, after this recording, we will post all Q&A and the recording on the website. And if you have any questions or any concerns or issues, we do have a dedicated email address here for you to email. So the agenda today is to give an introduction of SMIC, what's our vision, strategy, and roadmap. What are the SMIC service offerings? What are the roles of the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Centers, or SMICs, in delivering those service offerings? And why are we looking to do a project call to bring in new SMIC partners? We're looking to expand our SMIC network. So we'll discuss that. And we'll also discuss the proposal parameters. There's a lot of details related to this proposal, so we'll step through those details. We'll also talk about, if you do choose to submit a proposal, the evaluation criteria we're looking at, and some important documents like the proposal template and other information. So we'll start off with, let's start from the top. So SMIC is a public-private partnership that's focused on smart manufacturing. We view smart manufacturing as all manufacturing by 2030. We're funded by the Department of Energy, and we're hosted here at UCLA here in Los Angeles, California. We're a membership-based organization. We cut across all industries and all size companies, promoting smart manufacturing. So we promote smart manufacturing to drive energy productivity by having smarter factories, smarter workers. We drive energy productivity, economic performance through operational efficiencies, workforce capacity by educating the smart manufacturing workforce. And we're also looking to be a financially self-sustaining institute. Our main focus is to democratize smart manufacturing through technology, knowledge, and culture. So we see smart manufacturing as a tool that can help companies across all industries unleash energy efficiencies and also efficiencies in material labor and operational productivity and economic and environmental sustainability. But again, we see smart manufacturing as all manufacturing in 2030, analogous to the other initiatives across the globe like Industry 4.0 and so on. So SMIC has three main service offerings. So the first one is our Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform, or SMIP. It's a fairly unique software platform that we develop with our partners and our research projects. One of the first platforms to bridge the gap between operational technology and informational technology to allow a seamless transmission of information from the factory floor and provide data in context so you can make decisions, optimize processes, predict challenges. So the combination of the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform plus its companion profiles, which are contextualized data models, allow this seamless flow of information. And the platform for SMIC is an enabling tool that also promotes projects, workforce development, and helps promote people on their smart manufacturing journey. The other pillar of SMIC is smart manufacturing knowledge, which is a diverse portfolio of education and workforce development training, consulting, benchmarking studies, knowledge repositories. Again, SMIC cuts across all industries and across all size organizations, and our training is very segmented from factory floor workers to operational practitioners to C-level executives. So we have very segmented training across all industries, meeting people where they're at in their smart manufacturing journey. And SESMII is a technology-driven institute, so we have cross-cutting technologies. So these are technologies that cross-cut against all industries and promote smart manufacturing through new sensing technologies, wireless data communications, process control algorithms, physics and data-driven predictive modeling, which is getting more and more important, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and also the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform and SM profiles. So SESMII stands on these three pillars. These are the service offerings we offer our membership. So the role of the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Centers are that SESMII has a national mandate. So SESMII is based out here in UCLA, Los Angeles. We have a national mandate. So right now we have a partner of three other Smart Manufacturing Innovation Centers: Texas A&M, North Carolina State University, Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute in upstate New York. And we have a collection of great satellites up and down the West Coast here. We have a more distributed model on the West Coast. So with this current footprint, we try to address the membership at a national level, meet the members where they're at regionally, and also more importantly, the SMICs cut across different industry verticals. Each SMIC is a subject matter expert in an industry vertical. So for example, UCLA in chemical processing, North Carolina State in pulp and paper, nonwovens, biomanufacturing, RPI and discrete manufacturing, Texas A&M in oil and gas. And also as important, we also present different service offerings as SMICs to the membership. So Autology is a smart manufacturing platform demonstration center. El Camino is a great EWD training center. Oregon State provides us great connectivity to the DOE Industrial Assessment Center. So you see the SMICs cut across different verticals and play different roles in a horizontal fashion. So we have a great initial footprint to address our membership, roll out our services, get the voice of membership back at a national scale. But now we're at a point in SESMII we're looking to grow and expand this footprint both across industry vertical and across geography. So this is what we're looking for in a SMIC. So SMICs have to be credible, high-value extensions or lighthouses of SESMII. So a key requirement for a SMIC is that they have to have deep and existing relationships with the industry. So even though they may be academic institutes sometimes, they have to have deep existing relationships with the industry. They have to be applying their research to industry problems. They have to have expertise in smart manufacturing in either an industry vertical like steel, oil, and gas, or a cross-cutting technology horizontal like wireless communications, AI, machine learning. They have to have a strategic focus on smart manufacturing, both from an R&D perspective and a training EWD perspective. And they have to have meaningful assets that are meaningful to industry and manufacturing. It'd be great if they have an understanding of government processes and funding, since SESMII is a government-funded agency. And they can help us lead what we call our affinity groups, our working groups that are aligned around industry verticals, or if they have pre-existing working groups or industry consortia that align with SESMII, we're looking to bring those in as well. So even though they help roll out SESMII services at a national scale, the relationship it's multi-directional. It's a win-win relationship. So they are important for SESMII to disseminate our service offerings to our national membership base. It's also an important contact point for the membership to provide the voice of membership back to SESMII. SESMII has to be in sync with what the members need in real time. And we have to build a sustainable model that's win-win for both SESMII, the membership, and the SMIC at a financial level. So we're looking to develop a model that's win-win at all levels. So kind of an example of a SMIC in action is our great SMIC in North Carolina State University. They have 4 great industrial assets. Even though they're an academic setting, they have industrial assets. They have a biomanufacturing assets. a non-wovens factory where they're actually printing right now PPE for COVID response, pulp and paper, so printing pulp and paper, and advanced manufacturing like robotics. So they had these pre-existing assets. SMIC came in, we provided them a connection, an instance to the SMIC Smart Manufacturing Platform, and all the great applications for our partners that sit on top of it. And through our smart manufacturing profiles, we connected their assets to the platform. So we have a streamless flow of data from the sensors that sit on their assets to the platform to allow visualization of the data, process control, and modeling. So this is insights to their manufacturing data they did not have before. So first off, this created a nice manufacturing test bed for process control and optimization and modeling across these 4 assets. But equally as important, it creates a powerful education and workforce development platform. So now that you have these smart assets with data streaming to the platform that you can see in real time, these create training environments both for workforce and industry. So this shows industry training at their bioreactor site, as well as students being trained in the pulp and paper asset. But all these assets are now tied to the smart manufacturing platform. You can see real-time data, digital twins, and data in real time. So it creates a lot of great training at many different levels in segmented fashion. So this shows the 1 + 1 = 3 with the SMIC service offerings. So again, before the relationship, NCSU had these great assets. SMIC as a platform came together, created this great combined asset and service offering. So I just wanted to set the stage what SMIC is about, what the SMICs do, and what we're looking for in a SMIC. So we'll talk next about looking to add more SMICs to our SMIC networks. So with this request for proposal, or this RFP 3 for our Smart Manufacturing Innovation Centers, we're looking for new SMIC partners. We're looking for partners that are either aligned to some strategic industry verticals, such as metals like the steel industry, automotive manufacturing, robotics, machine tools, small to mid-sized manufacturers or SMMs, chemical processing, refining, pharmaceutical manufacturing, which is obviously getting more important with the COVID response, food and beverage processing, consumer packaged goods, and semiconductors. So these are kind of the key industry vertical targets. We're also looking at SMICs that can cut across some horizontal, cross-cutting horizontal technologies such as sensing and wireless data, some new technologies there like 5G, the new sensing technologies, process control and algorithms, predictive and physics-based modeling, and machine learning and AI. So I'll provide a little more detail in a few minutes, but the scope of work for these SMICs there's 6 kind of predefined scopes of work, and you can kind of pick and choose from any one of the 6 or any combination of the 6 you'd like to do. And there's fixed funding, so we're looking for a 16-month period of performance with a minimum funding level of $25,000 over these 16 months federal or SESMIC provided dollars, and $25,000 of cost share or in-kind co-investment from the SMIC partner. So since SESMIC is a public-private partnership, there's a 1-to-1 matching between the federal dollars we provide to our SMIC partners, and they have to provide equal dollar back in-kind cost share or in-kind contribution. So we're looking for a minimum funding of $25K federal, $25K cost share, to a maximum of $325K federal, $325K cost share over this anticipated 16-month period of performance. So I'll go a little bit deeper in the detail of the 6 potential predefined scope of work areas shown here. So the first one is showcasing smart manufacturing through the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform. So if a SMIC selects this, SESMIC provides at no cost to the SMIC an instance to the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform. So the SMIC would set up the platform with our training and guidance. And the importance is to do technical training of members or prospective members on the platform. So there's training on how to use a platform, but equally as important to use the platform as a tool to engage a member on where they're at in the smart manufacturing journey and helping them get to the next phase of their smart manufacturing journey. So helping them fully understand what's the benefit, value, ROI, smart manufacturing, ideation processes around the problems they're trying to solve on the manufacturing factory floor, and how smart manufacturing can help solve that problem. And since the SMIC is a subject matter expert in a given vertical, they provide that expertise leveraging the platform in that example. For outreach events, this would be engaging SESMII member and prospects, which brings visibility to the SMIC partner on a more national stage. And these outreach events underscore the value of SESMII membership, highlights the core competencies, the subject matter expertise of the SMIC itself, and how SESMII and the SMIC working together can solve smart manufacturing problems for the SESMII membership. This third one is the example as shown for the North Carolina state, where a SMIC has some pre-existing great manufacturing assets that we integrate to the platform. And these form great industrial test beds for smart manufacturing. So it creates these assets that are coupled to the platform for the seamless flow of data and process control and monitoring, setting the stage for workforce development and training on smart manufacturing, on assets that are relevant to the industry, relevant to SESMII's membership. The next one is EWD training partners. So a lot of our SMICs, since some of them, they're universities, they have great training infrastructure, both for in-person training as well as online e-learning training. So in this scenario, SESMII would come with the content and leverage the SMIC partners' training infrastructure. We would train their trainers to give the SESMII sanctioned training. We can provide trainers in some case. Sometimes the partners also have content themselves, and they could be a combination of both of these where they have the training infrastructure and content. So we welcome partners that have pre-existing content that we can refine for SESMII for the smart manufacturing aspect, and they deliver on behalf of SESMII. So it's SESMII sanctioned content that the SMIC manufacturing partner brought in based on their expertise in smart manufacturing. And lastly, smart manufacturing knowledge sharing, benchmarking, and assessment services. So we are selecting SMICs that are subject matter expertise, either in an industry vertical, technology horizontal. And we want to leverage that and have them engage with membership or prospective membership to share that knowledge expertise, having innovation or envisioning sessions, benchmarking, assessment services, basically helping members solve the manufacturing problems, bringing in their subject matter expertise and the SESMII service offering. So those are kind of the 6 different predefined work areas. So for the RFP, you can select one or any multiple of these. So for this RFP, we're looking to fund in total. So we're looking to award somewhere between 3 to 10 new SMIC partners. In total, we're looking to award up to $1 million federal, and we're looking for the SMIC partners to contribute a matching $1 million in cost share in-kind contribution. The period of performance is up to 16 months. So once we've received proposals, made the selections, determined the awardees, we'll finalize the timeline then. So maybe 15 months, maybe 16 months, hard to predict, but it won't be any longer than 16 months. But once the awards are approved, we'll finalize the schedule. So each award will be somewhere between $50K total cost, as I mentioned earlier, half being federal, half cost share, or $650 total cost. What determines the funding is the scope of work you select, how many of those 6 predefined areas you select. So for the 16-month period performance, we're just looking at a nominal budget period 1 between October 1st, 2021 through January 31st, 2022, and having a go, no-go decision points. So each SMIC partner would have go, no-go milestones they're evaluated against. If they move into the next budget period is a full 12 months of February 1st, 2022 to January 31st, 2023. So the 6 months are a 4 plus 12-month kind of arrangement. So the overall RFP process is we've opened the RFP. So we've announced it last week. We're holding two informational webinars this week. Both the informational webinars are the same. We're just offering them 2 different time periods to try to deal with the people's schedules across the nation here. So we're opening the RFPs. We're collecting proposals as we speak. We'll have a proposal review process where SESMII and DOE concur on the selection. So we're looking to select somewhere between 3 to 10 proposals to move forward. We then will notify the awardees, and then we'll work with the awardees to refine the proposal packages. We have to refine their statement of work to be in the SOPA with a strategic project objective format of the DOE, the budgets, and all these support documentation. It's then submitted to DOE. We have to go through a formal process to modify the SESMII Cooperative Agreement Award to bring in these new projects as subrecipients. And then UCLA, being the host institute, would issue subrecipients to agreements to each of the selected awardees. So right now we're holding the informational webinars this week, as I mentioned. The deadline for submitting proposals is the April 28th. So we're looking to receive all proposals by April 28th. SESMII and DOE are looking to review all proposals and concur on the awardees and notify the awardees by May 26th, and then working with the awardees through refining their proposal packages into SOPA and budget packages, modifying the award, issuing the agreements, hopefully as early as October 1st. So we're looking at something like an 18-week process, which is fairly typical for those of you familiar with these Department of Energy award processes. They're very structured processes. So this may change a little bit. We'll communicate the timeline as it changes on the website. So who's eligible? So currently, anyone right now can submit a proposal. Whether you're a member or not a member of SESMII, you can submit a proposal. But if your proposal is selected, everyone has to be a member in good standing by the time that the project contract is at UCLA. So a member in good standing means you signed all the SESMII membership agreements and provided all the support documentation, and you're up to date on your annual dues, your annual membership fees with SESMII. So more details on this can be found in the SESMII options. We do allow participation in very selective ways by foreign entities. So all SMIC partner locations must be in the United States. Approved SESMII members of foreign entities may apply for SMIC partner funding only if they have an established significant location in the United States, and all SMIC partner work must be done in the United States. So I'm sure everyone will write a good proposal that's very well aligned to the RFP requirements, but in the case of there are non-responsive proposals, SESMII reserves the right to not respond to non-responsive proposals. So if the proposals fall outside the parameters of an RFP or violate the laws of physics or business principles, we reserve the right not to respond to those types of proposals. We just really want to focus on the proposals that are addressing the RFP. So you heard me talk about cost share. I think some of you are familiar with cost share. For those that aren't, so cost share must be at least 50% of the allowable costs of the partner work. So if you're awarded a $650K total award, $325K will be SESMII funding, $325K will be cost share. And there's various, there's set federal rules on the cost share, and there'll be some links in the next slide to that. So there's allowable costs for cost share. Cost share may come in either in-kind contribution or cash. Most typically, a SMIC partner tends to be a single organization. That's just the nature of these projects. But in certain unique situations, it may be awarded to a lead organization that may have team members or subrecipients to help them form the SMIC. In that case, the cost share could be split across the team lead and his team members as they see fit, as long as in total 50% of the total project cost is met by the team. So in the case where you do have a team, you can slice and dice the cost share obligations across the team as you see fit. Upon award selection as part of the final package that's presented to DOE along with the SOAP and the budget, there has to be a formal cost share commitment letter and assurance of the cost share each team and team member is going to commit that aligns to the cost share called out in the budget. So cost share are quote unquote, they're donations or in-kind contributions. So SESMII is a public-private partnership. It represents a co-investment. So the dollars between SESMII, the DOE dollars that SESMII is distributing has to be matched by in-kind contributions from the partners. So it's a co-investment of 1 + 1 = 3. So these in-kind contributions are financially valued to quantify the co-investment. So for every dollar cost share we provide, every dollar funding we provide, you have to provide a dollar cost share. Very specific regulations on cost share, and there's some links here. This presentation will be online afterwards. So the very specific links on what's allowable cost share and what's not. But in general, generally speaking, personnel costs are allowed for cost share. Raw material, laboratory supplies, hardware or software that align to the project, facilities or administrative costs, usage costs of facilities or equipment. So if you have a great lab or a great asset that you charge a usage fee, that would count as cost share, or a value of service or other resource source or third party in-kind contribution. So that's kind of the tactics of the proposals. So we're expecting to receive a lot of great proposals from everyone out there. So just to let you know the criteria, how the proposals will be viewed, evaluated. So 40%, we're going to look at the core competency of the organization, and I'll get into detail in 1 minute. 30% will be the service offering merit. So out of those 1 to 6 service offerings, what's the merit of that? How does that align to SESMII's goals and objectives? And the operational and management competencies of the organization will be 30%. So talk first about the core competencies. So as I mentioned earlier, we're looking for these smart manufacturing innovation centers to be a domain expert, either in an industry vertical or technology horizontal. So the core competency here is we're looking to how well defined are you as a center of excellence in what you're claiming as your market vertical or technology horizontal? What are your pre-existing research programs or solutions that you brought to bear that are aligned to the SESMII mission? If you have any manufacturing assets that are relevant. So we're looking for partners that are up and running that can partner with SESMII. We're looking for organizations that already have deep connections to industry engagement, research collaborations, industry consortia working groups. So examples of that will be great examples of external collaborations. And what is your program management experience? How many similar types of programs have you managed? Have you managed programs that are funded by Department of Energy or DoD or NSF? So you're used to these funded programs with cost share and reporting requirements. So what's your expertise in managing programs like SESMII? And what's your expertise in managing programs that have complexity with smart manufacturing, technology, workforce development, membership interaction? So we're looking for partners that have previous program management experience that align to what we want a SMIC to be in the SESMII portfolio. So this is 40% of the weighting here is core competencies. So 30% is the service offering merit. So you can select 1 to 6 of those predefined service offerings, or those predefined statement of work areas. And what we're looking for is how well aligned are those service offerings to these 3 areas? How do they contribute to achieving SESMII's institute objectives and performance metrics? And details of that are in the RFP. How do they demonstrate to SESMII members how smart manufacturing either directly or indirectly impacts energy productivity through improvements in energy efficiencies, operational efficiencies, process optimization, supply chain resiliency. And how do they help us link to all stakeholders in the manufacturing ecosystem? SMIC cuts across multiple industries, multiple size companies. So we have to have something that scales to all of US manufacturing. And lastly, 30% weighting is on operational management competency. So what you're proposing to roll out as a service offering, we want to select proposals that we have confidence in being established. They're going to start up and integrate their service offerings and start offering that to membership over the 16-month period. And they can achieve the goals of their milestones and statement of objectives. They have a well-qualified team that has experience and expertise in the subject matter vertical. They have the necessary resources, both hardware, software, facility resources. They have a very well thought out project plan for integrating their service offering, their team to SESMII to form the SMIC offering. So an important document here is the proposal template. So a link to it is shown here. So we encourage you heavily to download the proposal template. It will step you through step by step how to write a proposal for submission to this RFP. And there's multiple sections to this proposal template. It tells you what we're looking for in the structured cover page, the core competency summary, and that's 40% of the weighting, as I mentioned before. How you can present your service offerings, which is 30% of the weighting. What your operational and management approach is, again, 30% of the weighting. And we have to have smart deliverables and milestones. In between the first 4 months and the second 12 months over the 16 period of performance, there's a go, no-go milestone review. So the milestones are defined there. We're looking for a budget in EER 335 format. There's a link to that in the template. And we're looking to have a thumbnail profile of the SMIC organization that highlights the assets, the personnel, and the subject matter expertise in kind of a 3-slide PowerPoint profile format. So this forms a complete proposal template that needs to be submitted by April 28th. You can submit it through the email address, the dedicated email address shown here. As I mentioned, all the useful information, as I mentioned earlier, we have a dedicated website to this RFP call, which has the RFP document along with this template. We'll post the recording to this webinar to that website. As people ask questions to this webinar and we answer them, and also you can ask questions online and we'll answer them online. We'll post all Q&A online at the website as well. So if you have any questions, inquiry, or anything, or you please send to this email here, and proposal submission is to the same email. So with that, I'll open the floor to questions, and Tara, if you can help me with the questions here.
Yes, we do have some questions in the QA. The first one is, what is the vision for the SMICs after the 16-month period of performance?
That's a great question. So that's the end of SESMII's budget period 5, and SESMII is looking to be financially stable as an institute or self-sustaining. So we're looking for SMICs and service offering models that generates revenue both at the SMIC level and the SESMII level to allow both of us to be sustainable and an ongoing offering to our membership as SESMII enters in to become a nonprofit after the DOE funding at the end of the 16 months. So we're looking for SMIC partners that can help us achieve sustainability both at the institute level and at their SMIC level.
Okay, and we've got another question here. Is paper pulp also a vertical target in the RFP 3 SMIC?
Certainly, we're looking to expand upon what we have at NC State. So if you have paper and pulp that brings in a different dimension than NC State, we'd be happy to look at that as well. Obviously, paper and pulp is a large area, and there's many parts of the ecosystem that can be addressed.
Okay, and our next question is, would work done by a local MEP be considered cost share? And related to that question is the next one, would funding that we receive from a local MEP that are administered by state agency be considered as cost share?
Since the MEPs are funded by NIST, which is a federal agency, I don't think you're allowed to count other federal dollars towards cost share for SESMII. It has to be non-federal dollars. So the details are what's allowed, what's not allowed is back in the slide, but the short answer is most likely not. Only because the MEPs are funded by other federal dollars and can't use other federal funding to be cost share against our Department of Energy funding that's part of the CFRs here, so it's not allowable, to my understanding.
Okay, and our next question, how mature is the SMIP? Will it support IoT apps for working manufacturing plant, or is it an R&D tool?
It's very much more beyond an R&D tool, but to give a more effective answer, if I can maybe put John Diker, CEO, on the spot here, and I know, John, you want to provide an answer? Or...
I'd be happy to. Would you mind rephrasing the question?
They wanted to know if the SMIC, or the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform, is just an R&D tool, or is it out there helping solve real manufacturing problems? Is it being applied, or is it a research tool?
Yeah, so the answer is yes. Yes to both. It's a significant R&D tool, but it is absolutely being used by real manufacturers in real manufacturing environments. And the anticipation is that increasingly over time, as these deployments scale up and grow in terms of volume, that we will see the innovation platform play a significant role in this manufacturing ecosystem. This is a thin but vital layer, excuse me, of infrastructure that we believe will play a significant role in how the entire manufacturing software ecosystem can improve the way they deliver smart manufacturing. So one of our goals that Howard presented at the very beginning, one of the sort of high-level goals from the agency, from the DOE for SESMII, is to reduce the cost of deploying smart manufacturing by 50%. We believe that this innovation platform represents the only hope of actually achieving that objective for the entire ecosystem. The kind of interoperability, portability of applications, portability of and reusability of configuration and code, that's a typical part of smart manufacturing software deployments, really can only be done through this type of layer of infrastructure. And so that's a bit of a long response, but the short one is absolutely. These innovation centers represent a lighthouse sandbox, if you will, if we can bring those two ideas together, where industry and academia and innovation and research come together in a real manufacturing setting, but not in a mission critical manufacturing setting. In other words, these are, when Howard talked about manufacturing assets being a key part of any SMIC, the idea is that like we demonstrated at North Carolina State, we've got a real nonwovens institute, a real nonwovens process, and all the equipment that's part of that represents an opportunity for this infrastructure to come together with a variety of different software solutions, and innovation can happen, right? The kinds of domain experts and academia come together to solve important problems, and then go back to their facilities, to their manufacturing operations, and deploy those in real manufacturing operations in a mission critical manufacturing environment. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you, John. And you can say it better than I did, so sorry to put you on the spot, but
oh, no worries. No, happy to help.
Okay, the next question. Following up the question on the vision after the 16-month period of performance, is financial sustainability a critical element of the SMIC proposal?
yes, it is. And if you're going to the proposal template, we're looking for part of that to be part of the template requirement is a business case. So we're looking for partners that can bring in a business case and help promote self-sustainability.
Okay. Can a SMIC applicant submit multiple proposals along with multiple academic institutions?
Most certainly. Yep. So as long as they're covering either a different vertical, different horizontal, obviously. So they're covering some different dimension, but we understand that people are multifaceted, multi-talented. So yes.
Okay, we've got a couple more here. Are letters of collaboration support allowed or helpful?
They're probably not required in the proposal phase. They'll be more required if you're selected, but if you want to provide a letter of support in the proposal phase, it doesn't hurt. It's not a requirement. But letters of commitment will be a requirement if you are selected and we need to move on towards the contracting phase.
Okay. How does monetization happen for a participant in SESMII after the 16-month period?
Would you like me to touch on that, Howard?
Sure.
Yeah, so there are any number of creative ways where we envision that happening, but not the least of those being that what SESMII and the capabilities that we represent bring to you from both an education workforce development perspective, the IP that is being created for our membership by our membership through the projects that have been executed, the innovation platform, the potential to monetize applications on the innovation platform, create predictive models, create profiles, and put them in our marketplace and monetize them through our marketplace. Those are absolutely, we believe, significant ways for these SMICs to become self-sustaining and play a significant role going forward as well. In other words, we bring these capabilities to you, and you can bring them to your stakeholders, to your consortia, to your industry partners, and one of the sort of untapped benefits of the sort of innovation that we are bringing to this marketplace is the idea that we have this smart manufacturing innovation platform as an industry standard for data contextualization, data ingestion and contextualization, and data access. And so as industry in your consortia, as your students, postdocs, PhDs, your faculty come up with great ideas to solve problems, to innovate, to build the predictive model, you now have a phenomenal vehicle to first of all develop this IP on an infrastructure layer that is scalable, that's deployed in a mission critical environment, that is low cost, that enables you to sort of encapsulate that IP and bring it, like I said, to the marketplace and charge for it. This represents a whole new rapid application development environment for our membership that is unparalleled in the industry. Excuse me. This we believe is how we create citizen technologists for the industry, right? We've done what we've done or have begun and are beginning to bring to the marketplace the same sort of capabilities for manufacturing that both iOS or Apple did through iOS and Google did through Android, right? Creating a standard set of interfaces that enable an application developer like you and me to create apps without worrying about the complexity, the massive complexity that lies underneath that in any other software stack, you'd have to build yourself from scratch. This innovation platform builds that platform and has the API and all of the capabilities necessary for you to build your IP or layer your IP, your tools, your knowledge on top of that, encapsulate it, put it in our marketplace, and bring it to the marketplace for monetization. So there are multiple ways we see that sort of sustainability happening, but as a sort of highly strategic component here, this notion of democratizing smart manufacturing by allowing average domain experts that reside all over your ecosystem and all over ours across this country, we're enabling you to bring your innovations to market in a whole new way. And we think that these SMICs represent an enormous opportunity for you to engage industry, your industry, your stakeholders in your sphere of influence to the table in this way, and then drive the monetization of that IP through our marketplace.
And just to add on to that, so as John mentioned, a keystone of the marketplace is the platform and the profiles, all the ecosystem that generates that can be monetized. Additionally, from an EWD standpoint, we're expecting a good portion of the training that we offer also to be offered for a charge or a fee. So some revenue sharing opportunities in training and hosting outreach events where we generate new membership fees, so some revenue share there, and leveraging these SMICs for their subject matter expertise. So you can envision consulting services that can also lead to some monetization there. This is after the 16 months. But all those, as John mentioned, will be accessible accessible to the membership through the Smart Manufacturing Marketplace, the one-stop shop, the Apple Store.
Okay, and we had a few more questions come in. One is, will strategy or feasibility studies be considered?
Like I don't.
I'm not sure I understand that question either, Howard. I guess I could interpret it in a few different ways and try to respond. And in the meantime, if the person asking the question can perhaps clarify their intent, that would be appreciated. But from my standpoint, a feasibility study as part of your offerings, as part of the sustainability strategy, as part of the services you provide for your stakeholders, your marketplace, absolutely. From my perspective, using SESMII methods and using SESMII capabilities and assessment tools and maturity models and all the things that we bring to you, for you to in turn take those, package them up in helpful ways for your sake, for your purposes, to monetize them, create feasibility studies, absolutely.
Thank you, John. Tara's in.
Let's see. The partnerships SESMII has created with ThinkIQ, Savagent, Microsoft, and others are key to the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform. What is the SESMII vision for how those partnerships mature when DOE, or it says DOD, funding expires, and what is the expected impact on SMICs who have invested in the platform? If we invest time and resources in the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform, we are looking for some assurance that we won't have to pay for the underlying commercial products when the 16-month period of performance expires. What is the plan in regard to this?
It's a great question. From our perspective, these SMICs represent sort of a market access for our membership, right? And so our expectation is absolutely that these instances of the platform, these technologies, will continue to be made available for our SMICs for no charge.
Okay, and the next question, does all of the IP developed under SMIC funding remain with the organization? Are there any shared IP rights?
Yeah, so the nature of the IP rights under DOE, just like an R&D project, the rights reside with the inventor of the IP. So the SMIC invents IP, they own it, they cross-license to SESMII. And SESMII, any required technology the SMIC needs, like the platform, we cross-license to them. But the way the IP rights are is the inventor under the funding, whoever initially invents is the owner of IP, and they cross-license the other party.
Okay, we've got one more here. What is the expected audience for the training? SMIC users? would we be the teachers or just the hosts?
I'll take a stab here, and Howard, I'm sure you can chime in. Our expectation is that you would take as aggressive a stance in this as possible. There are significant areas where we will train the trainers, assuming that's of interest to you, but we assume that will be, and for you to take that content and deploy it as broadly and as deeply as you can be. So we do plan to share our expertise, our capabilities, our curricula with the trainers, quote unquote, with the appropriate folks in your organizations to drive that into whatever relevant part of your ecosystem you can. And the audience, we believe, is virtually every stakeholder on that spectrum, from your students to industry. And of course, we'll come alongside you to ensure that the content is consistent with the audience that you're defining. We believe that different SMIC organizations have different sort of areas of expertise along that spectrum, and those are the areas that we'll support you with. But the bottom line is, wherever you sort of put yourself on that spectrum of audience, from college students to the CEO sitting in a corner suite somewhere, we'll support you in ensuring that you're prepared and have SESMII sanctioned content and capabilities for you to play the primary voice of or delivery vehicle for those potential different audiences.
Okay, we've got another question here.
And if I can just, sorry, Tara, just briefly interrupt you. Conrad's comment to us here in real time is that we're hoping the SMICs are helping us further develop a network of smart manufacturing educators, and we will work with the network to upskill the trainers and educators with the latest SM skills. So thanks, Conrad. I think you said that more concisely and appropriately than I did.
Okay, the next question is on-prem deployment of the SMIC still being considered, and is it a possibility for a SMIC in the context of this RFP?
So the bottom line is, right now, we envision significant variety of future deployment mechanisms in the not too distant future, meaning somewhere within our 5-year, before the end of BP5, put it that way. We will have on-premise deployments of our platform, of the innovation platform. We have multiple different models right now where the sort of on-premise edge component plays a much more significant role than the cloud components do, the elements that are hosted in Azure. But it is largely still a pure cloud deployment today. As that evolves, those capabilities will manifest themselves in the marketplace, and I believe our SMICs will be the first place where that actually happens.
Any more questions, Tara?
Looks like we have one more. So the training and the software you referred to would be automatically included, so we would not need to include that in our budget. Is that correct?
We provide the software, yes, we provide the software that SESMII provides. The training we provide does not need to be in your budget. You need to budget for the computer stations, the workstations to host the platform, the trainers on your side, the staff on your side. But
slightly finer point, not so much to host the platform, but to host the edge, the SM Edge technology, which is essentially the gateway to the platform in Azure. So minor detail.
No, thanks, John.
And it looks like that's all for questions at the moment.
Very robust Q&A session. I love it. Thanks for your help, John. Appreciate it. So we're happy to expand the SESMII SMIC family here. So we're very excited about this RFP. We look forward to all the great proposals coming in. Any questions or concerns along the way, as I mentioned, there's this dedicated email address down here. keep checking out the dedicated webpage for this SMIC RFP, and also the sub tab under there for Q&A. But again, we'll have another session like this on Thursday, different time, to accommodate schedules. But we welcome your proposals and look forward to growing the SMIC family here at CESMII. And with that, wish you a good day and wish everyone stay safe.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.